The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta Holiday Market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
It's the SNL Hall of Fame podcast with your host, Jamie Dew, Chief Librarian Thomas Senna, and featuring Matt Ardill. And now, curator of the hall, Jamie Dew.
Hello and welcome to the SNL Hall of Fame. I'm not Jamie Dew. I'm Jamie's trusty co-host, Thomas Senna, but I think I speak for Jamie when I say, wipe your feet before you enter the hall, especially on an occasion like today. The SNL Hall of Fame podcast is a weekly affair in which we explore the Hall of Fame candidacy of a cast member, host, musical guest, or writer. We're putting the exploration on pause for today, because this week we are revealing the Hall of Fame class of Season 5. What an exciting event, an extravaganza today here at the SNL Hall of Fame. This is what we work toward every season. So it's so exciting. Joining me to welcome the new SNL Hall of Famers and dig into the results are mainstays here at the SNL Hall of Fame. Most people don't know this, though, too, but they actually live here, my guess. So that so every now and then they'll get visitation, and they have families and kids and stuff. And we're really nice here at the hall, and we give them visitation rights and whatnot. But they actually live here. They bunk here, and so residents of the SNL Hall of Fame are joining me today. Bill Kenny, thank you for joining me here to reveal the result.
Thomas, thank you for having me. It's been a while since we spoke on this podcast. I nominated Martin Short this year, so I'm very excited to get into it and see who made the hall. This is always an exciting episode of the podcast, and I haven't been on a reveal before, so I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, this will be good stuff. Do you have any predictions or hopes or anything coming into the announcement today?
I've said it on every time I've been on any variation of this podcast. The writers need love, and there's a few people who are going to be dropping off soon if they don't get in. Michael O'Donoghue stands out again. We've made the case plenty of times how important he is to the history of the show, how he's inspired so many people through the years as far as his writing, even if he was, very controversial at moments. I think he's deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. So I'm cautiously hoping that he gets in.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see if he made the cut. Also joining me, Kirsten Rayula, a wonderful regular here, dressed up very nicely for the occasion. Kirsten, thank you so much for dressing up for the event. Your hair looks great. You look really nice today for the special event. I can't say the same for Bill. Bill wore sweats.
Listen, I'm wearing a t-shirt, but thanks. Sometimes, while we're here in this Hall of Fame, we just got to get off the couch at times, right?
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to see both of you. I love chatting with you. And listen, if you've listened to these and you're a fan of the show, you will know that I'm always voting for John Mulaney. And
yes.
I think this might be his last chance.
In one capacity.
In one capacity, you're right.
Sure.
You're right. I want to see his name in there. I do feel like there are some real obvious ones, like a Fred and a Maya. But then when you look at people like Will Forte and Martin Short, as you mentioned, they're really reminding people currently, given the shows that they are in, Murders in the Building and Bodkin and such, that they're great. They were great members of the cast. So I'm very curious to see where this goes. And Bill, I got to tell you, I am guilty of not giving the writers enough love. So I apologize on behalf of all of us people who aren't doing it.
You're
So
forgiven.
we have somebody to blame.
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Kirsten. Let's get down to it. I'm getting the envelope. You guys ready to find out your class
drum
of season
roll?
5? Perfect.
Very excited.
All right. So the first inductee in the class of season 5 with 84.6% of the vote, pretty resounding. I need to go back to previous votes, but this is one of the highest voting percentages we've ever had in the SNL Hall of Fame. So here's your first inductee for the class of season 5, 84.6% of the vote is Maya Rudolph is in the SNL Hall of Fame. So Maya Rudolph, Kirsten let out some fist pumps. So what are your thoughts, Maya Rudolph? This was her last year. This is her 5th time being a nominee. She was all the way back to season 1. So if she wouldn't have got voted in, Kirsten, she would have been off the ballot completely. So what do you think?
She's Mother. How could we have done that to her? She just kept us waiting. People finally got it right. She is a legend of the show. She is absolutely someone who should be on this list. And as she just demonstrated in the recent episode of season 49, she is Mother and she deserves to be there.
Recent.
I would have shed tears. I would have shed tears if she wasn't on.
Oh no, totally deserving. She had a really fun episode recently. She was top of mind for a lot of people. Like she should be top of mind for SNL folks, but especially top of mind because she just hosted. Bill Kenny, Maya Rudolph is in now. What say you?
Listen, Thomas, you and I have had this conversation. It came up quite a bit when the all-time cast ranking was done on the Saturday Night Network. I'm not as high on Maya as some, but she is deserving. I mean, 9 seasons. She had so many great characters. She brought Whitney Houston to life. She brought Oprah to life. Beyonce, of course, who we saw in the most recent hosting stint as well. I think, and it's also important to note, when she was on the show, Saturday Night Live was very white and very male. Yes. They obviously had people like Molly and Sherry on the show, but women of color were not part of the mix. She was the first woman of mixed race to be on the show since Denitra Vance, which was like 16 years earlier. So that's an important part of this as well. And she was able to play so many characters. You never really thought of her race. You thought of her as a funny comedian, a funny woman, and I'm glad to see her in.
Yeah, me too. And I'm kind of along the lines of you, Bill. I think Maya's deserving, but there were times where I was a little she wasn't a lock for me. I'll say it that way. And I pinpointed it. We talked about it in the roundtable that I think she was maybe in the wrong era for me. I think the era that she started in was a little some of the humor wasn't to her skill set. And then once the show got really humming, she wasn't able to see it through to 2011, 2012, like some of her other contemporaries. So I just think maybe she was in the wrong era for me personally, but I'm really happy that she's in the hall. And I think it was a lot of urgency by voters. Would you guys say? She had 47% in season 1, straddling around 58% the next 3 cycles, all the way up to almost 85%. Part of me feels like that was some of that urgency, the voters knowing this was her last time on the ballot to just get her in there. What do you say?
She's ageless. I mean, like fine wine, she's just getting better and better. Imagine, as you say, if she had been in a different era, imagine what she'd be doing right now with Bowen. We got a little peek into that on her recent episode. she would have been so hilarious with Kate and Adie and Taryn, and now with Bowen and this current cast, because she's so darn silly. And a lot of them are. And when I say she's ageless, yes, she's obviously a gorgeous woman, and she maintains this beautiful kind of vibe about her. She's stylish. She's all these things. But she's also ageless in that she seems current at all times. Mm-hmm. She could drop slang with the best of them, and it wouldn't seem disingenuous, much like her cold open of the recent episode. That would have been very exciting. Do people ever come back? Can we ask her to come back and just do one season? How about just more cameos?
That's a good point. I don't
just
know.
Like
There's been hosts. There's been people who have hosted and then been cast members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just come back and do a season just for shits and giggles. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that'd be incredible.
We would all love that. Bill, any final thoughts about this vote or Maya in general?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. There was a sense of urgency. We see this in Baseball Hall of Fame as well. You know that they only have 10 years on the ballot, and if there's a guy who's really deserving but's kind of fallen under the radar because there was other bigger names that had to get in first, there's a push on that last year, and I think that's probably what happened. Your point about the era is great. She just misses that third golden era. She's there for a minute, but she's not there completely. She's on a couple of really bad seasons with 29 and 30. So you do have to wonder, if she is in another era. I mean, and that happens to quite a few people that you can point to if they had just had the luck to be on a different time. But yeah, still very deserving. As I've said to you, Thomas, I've said on the Saturday Night Network, I like her more as a host. She's real. I like when she shows up on The Good Place or she shows up on something like that. So I'm happy to see her in, and I'm looking forward to her next hosting gig already.
Yeah, me too. We love you, Maya. Congratulations, Maya Rudolph, on getting inducted into the SNL Hall of Fame. So our second inductee, with 68.2% of the vote, and I want to remind everybody the threshold is 66%. So you need 66% or more to get into the Hall of Fame. This next inductee had 68.2% of the vote. We are looking at congratulating Molly Shannon on getting into the SNL Hall of Fame. Molly Shannon, again, much like Maya Rudolph, was a season 1 nominee. So if Molly didn't make it, she would have been completely off the ballot. And she kind of squeaked in too, 68.2% of the vote. But Molly Shannon is an SNL Hall of Famer. Bill, your reaction to Molly getting in?
This I'm very happy about. To put it in context, when she came on the show, she was on that at the very end of the horrid season 20, but then she was part of that resurgent, that silver era with Will Ferrell, Sherry O'Terry, and all of the characters that she brought in, Mary Catherine Gallagher, Jeannie Darcy, Delicious Dish. There's so many things. She was such a physical comedian, breaking through walls, didn't let anything stop her. I wish she had stayed on the show a little bit longer, but at the time, 6 seasons was quite a long time. So, and she was someone who hosted just last year as well, and it was very exciting to see her back in the building and working with the contemporaries and the current cast. So I'm very happy to see her get in. That era is my college years when she was on the show, so it's very near and dear to my heart, and she's up there with me with like Will Ferrell and things like that. So happy to see her in.
Yeah, it was high school and early college for me too, and Molly is very near and dear to my heart as well. Kirsten Molly Shannon.
Don't get me started. Don't even get me started. One of my favorite clips to go back and watch. First of all, another woman. Fantastic. This is great. She definitely represents like a really iconic period of the show. And Will Ferrell and the work that he was doing with both her and Sherry really elevated so many of those sketches. There was just a bit of a magic recipe happening. Any highlight reels that you see will typically involve a lot of Molly. You'll see Sally O'Malley and Mary Catherine Gallagher and Terry Rialto, sweaty balls. These are the clips that you see all of the time. And these are characters that people dress up as Halloween. I mean, is that the litmus test for you've made it, right? Is that people are dressing up as you and instantly recognizable as a character from the show? That's got to mean something. And she holds a few different spots there. I don't know how many people we could say that for. So I love that, as a woman, she was throwing herself around quite literally, not afraid to look the fool. But then, at other times, like a Helen Madden was just doing wacky, zany stuff that, pretty women weren't supposed to be doing. They were supposed to be sitting there, and she was kicking her limbs around. So she's very memorable. I reference a lot of her characters when I'm being a goof, and her clips are always fun to rewatch, which again is another litmus test for, a great mainstay of the show, is that I want to keep watching your clips and I will laugh just as much every time.
Yeah. So, Kirsten, I'm sure in your repertoire you have a good, I love it, I love it, I love it.
100%. 100%.
Could see you entertaining your friends with that.
Yep.
Yeah. Molly, amazing physical performer. One of the better physical performers I think SNL's ever had. We saw that a lot with Mary Catherine Gallagher. But I'm happy for her. She would have missed the cut. She started off with about 35% of the vote on her first outing, and it climbed a little bit. She had about 58% of the vote last cycle. So the writing was a little bit on the wall, but still kind of squeaked in. But I'm happy for Molly. So Molly Shannon, congratulations on being inducted into the SNL Hall of Fame. So I'll say this too for the listeners. We had 3 total inductees. So we mentioned 2 of them, Maya Rudolph and Molly Shannon. So out of all these really great nominees, only one who's left got into the SNL Hall of Fame. Voters were very discerning. They're very particular this go around. So it's pretty interesting. So without further ado, the final inductee. And Bill, I'll tell you this, writers did get some love here. So you will be happy. It might be a surprise because then you can look at the list and be like, well, wow, this person got left off, this person. But writers in this case did get some love. With 66.4% of the vote, 0.4 passed the threshold. In their final time on the ballot, so that's a theme here too, we're going to welcome Franken and Davis into the SNL Hall of Fame. Surprising to me, probably surprising to a lot of people. Really trailblazers. They got in on the ground floor in SNL, really important to the show's history. Al Franken and Tom Davis. Bill, what do you think of these writers, Franken and Davis, getting into the hall?
I'm very excited to hear that. They're somebody that I stumped for. They are so important to the beginning of the show. They had so many of the ads, the fake ads that everybody loves, like Spud Beer and Felina. Triple Track was on the very first show. And obviously them doing their own bit, their own little corner of the show, the Frank and Davis show, was basically unheard of. You did have Mike O'Donoghue doing his stuff with Mr. Mike, but to have these 2 20-something guys who were new to the show, with so many great writers on that cast, having their own little bit, kind of, precursing Lonely Island and Please Don't Destroy. And they were great. And they stuck around the show for a long time. They came back and forth. Franken was on the show a lot in the 80s. And then, they would guest write into the 90s. I think they're a very important part of the show. And I'm glad they didn't get overlooked. And now they're in with their buddy Jim Downey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jim Downey already in the SNL Hall of Fame. Kirsten, Franken, and Davis, very important to the show's history. So the writers getting love and also the early years getting love here.
That's exactly what I was thinking there, is very foundational. Like really kind of, there are some real cornerstones of what set this show to a 50-year run. And when you think of the work that they did together and, sometimes with other partners, even Coneheads and such, like these are very memorable moments and characters and sketches. And I do like that the voters have recognized a couple of standout females, but then also, some of these OGs, people who were instrumental in creating what this show is today. And I agree, like some of the commercials and the parodies, like the writing was just very smart. And, listen, we get a lot of fart jokes and kind of juvenile humor, but when it's smart and funny, hats off to you. Like that is an exceptional skill and talent, and it's some of the ways that the show has shown up best when they're creating and producing that type of material.
So I think they both did things separately too that got them attention. So Franken, obviously, like in the late 80s, especially early 90s, with his whole Stuart Smalley stuff, he would appear on Weekend Update. I think that kind of helped them as well, like that kind of recognition for maybe Al Franken too. But Tom Davis also, he helped create the Coneheads. He was behind some stuff. So do you think, Bill, like they're, we know what they did together, but do you think maybe like some of their individual kind of things as Al Franken and as Tom Davis helped maybe push them over the threshold?
I think so. They were both on camera quite a bit, but Franken obviously was on more. I will not hold Stuart Smalley against him.
Oh, no.
But his Weekend Update pieces were great. Him showing up and talking about the Al Franken decade and then coming back at the end of the 80s. And then even at the end of the 90s, he made a special appearance with his young son to start the Joe Franken millennium, I believe it was, right? Something like that. But yeah, I think that helps, having them on screen. Obviously, Michael O'Donoghue was on at the same time as them, and they got more love. So there's something to that FaceTime, I think, that probably helped push them over the top. But yeah, I wish Franken would come back now, to be honest. I wish he'd come back and do some stuff for the show, especially in the political climate that we're in. It would be nice to see some smart writing and not just copying what they said in some rant. So, well deserving.
Yes, yes, I definitely agree about Al Franken coming back. Yeah, that would be great. So congratulations to our 3 inductees, the class of season 5, Maya Rudolph, Molly Shannon, and Al Franken and Tom Davis, Franken and Davis. So Kirsten and Bill, I did email you. So a little behind the scenes, I did not reveal to Kirsten and Bill before we started who the inductees were, but I did email you to the list of voting results. So if you give me a thumbs up when you have that pulled up. So I want to get your instant reactions as you kind of peruse this. Kirsten, you look very contemplative there on the screen. You're kind of mulling over the numbers there and the voting results. Like, what kind of stands out to you?
And we can talk about these results, right? This is not a secret. All right.
No, absolutely.
Gosh, Will Forte was close. Wow. And not surprised.
63.6% for Will Forte. So he just missed that 66% cutoff line. His first season on the ballot, though. So really, you can say maybe he should have got in. Kate McKinnon didn't get in, which really shocked me.
Yeah.
She had 62.7% of the vote. But you can really say for both of them, and even Adam Sandler had 60%. So those 3, Will Forte, Kate McKinnon, and Adam Sandler, I'm surprised that at least 2 of them didn't get in. But the fact that it's their first time on the ballots, they're going to get in at some point. Probably next cycle, I would say. But
yeah, Fred inching up there as he should be. He should be in. I'm also very interested in the folks that are now off, right?
Yeah.
Sadly,
so there's a few.
John is a host.
So I'll go briefly mention like the people that are off the ballot because their time has run out. They were season 1 nominees and they didn't get in on any of the voting cycles. So Justin Timberlake off the ballot, he received 58.6% of the vote. Bill, not a fan of the will of the people when it comes to Timberlake.
No, the most important host of the last 20 years. I think probably part of that is that he hasn't hosted since 2013.
Yeah.
So that probably factors in. If he'd come back, if he was working on his 10th hosting gig in season 49, there'd probably be more fresh of mind as far as having him in. I feel like a lot of the hosts got short shrift, but that's shocking to me because other than maybe the Mount Rushmore of Steve Martin, Alec Baldwin, Buck Henry, he's got to be close to the Mount Rushmore, if not part of it. So really shocking.
No, I agree. He was hovering between 51% and this 58%. for the last 4 voting cycles, and I don't know. It probably would have taken him coming back to host. It seems like to get inducted. I think if he would have hosted here in season 49, I think he probably would have gotten over the threshold. I know our buddy John Schneider's not happy about this result, so I ask everybody to please respect John's privacy at this time. He's in mourning. Unless you're listening to his podcast, you don't have to respect his privacy.
Let me put a nail in his coffin then, because hot take, I'm over JT. I think he was. Ooh. Yeah, look at those reactions. I think he was of an era, and that era is done. I don't think people are as excited about him outside of you both, perhaps, and John. I think there are other extremely gregarious, multi-talented people that have come in to fill that gap, and that culturally he had a fantastic run, but I think he's in the right place. I think he's close, but I agree that I'm fine with the fact that he didn't make it in.
Okay, so we found the person. Okay, so we found the person who's responsible for JT not getting in. Right. Also off the ballot, Emma Stone. She received 39% this cycle, so she's off. Michael O'Donoghue. Off the ballot completely. Bill, he made a nice run though. O'Donoghue, he cratered to 11% in season 3, and he got up to 39%. So are you taking any solace in that?
No, not at all. We've discussed this, and it's true. I mean, up until about 10 or 15 years ago, you didn't know who wrote most sketches. There was no way to look this up. It's still very tough. I know John over at the SNN has been working on this huge spreadsheet with all the writing credits of all time. And there's huge holes where you don't know who wrote a sketch from 1985, from 1978. So that, I think, factors into a lot of the problems with getting writers in. Mm-hmm. Even with more contemporary ones like Jack Handy. Obviously, you know Deep Thoughts, but did you know he wrote this? And people are always shocked to find out, which I think my best friend getting in, Robert Smigel, his whole point was he had TV Funhouse. Everybody knew that was Smigel's TV Funhouse.
Right.
That was his little, even if you were just a casual fan of SNL, you knew that he wrote most of those. So that helped him a lot. But a lot of these writers fall under the radar because you have nothing to point to. Other than a couple of sketches. So it hurts, but I understand. And it is almost 50 years ago. So
yeah, I think that hurt O'Donoghue. I think just him being an abrasive personality might have rubbed some people the wrong way. But he's off the ballot completely. Other ones, Melissa McCarthy is off, Paul McCartney, Dunzo, Prince, and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers also off. And before I go to the last one, because I omitted somebody like on the list that for a reason, but Melissa McCarthy, Paul McCartney, Prince, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Kirsten, any kind of stray thoughts about any of those?
The musical guests I personally have never felt had a major impact on the show. I know that it's a great kind of variety show aspect of it, where it adds some additional entertainment, but it's never been what makes or breaks a show. I enjoy some of the performances. I fast forward some of them if I've taped the show or, if I'm streaming it. So I don't think a musical guest should get a vote over a cast member, a writer, or a host. But Melissa McCarthy, I'm surprised by. She's such a fan favorite. So to see her hovering between 19 and 33 is pretty surprising. I guess all I can say is she's got great company, and they just seem to be rising above her.
Yeah.
She perhaps needs to come back as well. She's been making some okay movies lately, so maybe she just needs another hit, and then she'll be top of mind.
Yeah, too bad Sean Spicer's not relevant in any way anymore. She could have done that a little more. Bill, do you agree as far as musical guests, like what Kirsten said?
Not completely, but yes, certain parts of that. I think that there's a higher bar, and the fact that Paul McCartney couldn't make that bar, Tom Petty. I mean, Tom Petty was on the show how many times? 12 times? Like that's and they need to play the hits. So I think this hurt with Prince, where he was only on 3 times. he never played any of his hits.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go back and watch him do 1999 or, Raspberry Beret. You got to play the hits, just like if you go to a concert, and that hurts some of these people. But McCartney played all his hits every time that he came on, and from the Beatles and from Wings and from his solo career. It is kind of surprising, but music is so much more subjective. It's really hard to get over that threshold with such a high threshold of 66%. So I understand why more musical guests haven't gotten in, but it is still a little disappointing with some of these folks.
Yeah, well, staying on the music topic real quick, Dave Grohl is the one where I generally kind of understand Kirsten's point and agree, but I think Dave Grohl's the exception for me. I think he's had such an outsized impact on the show relative to musical guests especially, that I'm frankly, I've been stumping for him since season 2, and I will continue. Dave Grohl, 53.6% of the vote this cycle. He's been about between 53 and 55% the last 3 votes, and I keep telling myself, oh, he's at 55 now. He's just going to get that last push, and it hasn't happened. But I think Dave Grohl, he's one where I'm like pounding my fist on the table. Like, I think Grohl should be in the Hall of Fame, even though I put less of an emphasis on musical guests. But Dave Grohl's the exception to me. Like, Kirsten, like, can I talk you into Dave Grohl at least?
Yeah, he's appeared in more cameos. Like, he, I think, steps outside of Dave Grohl, the lead singer or the drummer, and he is Dave Grohl, the persona, which we don't always get with some of the other performers. Like Tom Petty, if he's in a sketch, he's probably not talking, and he's still the musical guest, right? But where Dave Grohl will get into costumes, and and you could imagine a world in which he was maybe a cast member. Maybe he only lasted 1 season.
Yeah.
But, I could see him doing that. So I think people like him and his personality so much that it's easy to root for him.
Yeah. They need to like it more because he's not in the SNL Hall of Fame. And he should be.
Yeah, listen, let's talk John Mulaney then. Come on.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's where I was going to go, because John Mulaney is off the ballot as a host, though. So that's the caveat. So
yes.
we did something interesting. We put our minds together, the SNL Hall of Fame committee. We had deliberations about this. So John Mulaney started season 1 on the ballot as a host. For season 5, he got put on the ballot as a writer. So we were wondering, should we keep him on the ballot as a host and a writer? Should we take him off as a host and just have him as a writer? After long deliberations, we decided to keep him on as a host and a writer this cycle because, if he didn't get in, he would be off as a host completely. 48% of the vote John Mulaney got as a writer. 43.6% he got as a host. So he's off the ballot completely. Kirsten, I'm curious, first of all, before I'll give you the floor, but I'm wondering, do you think having him on in both categories split the vote? Do you think he would have gotten in if he was just on in, maybe as a writer?
On his 5th try, I don't know. I do appreciate, though, that he got the highest he's ever gotten as a writer. So I feel like I have a second chance.
You do? No, the clock kind of reset for John Mulaney.
And I think he's going to get in as a writer. He's so tied to Stefan and some of that writing. That's how people really, I think, appreciate him and recognize him. Whether or not you're a fan of his style of comedy and the musicals, that those sequences. But I think people love the writing and they love the anecdotes around him sneaking in copy to Stefan's script and breaking Bill Hader. So I think there's a lot of warm and fuzzies for him in the writing space. So I'm happy that he got a great first year score as a writer. I'll take it.
Yeah, okay. So I think you're a little more positive about the John Mulaney situation than I thought. Bill, what do you think of Mulaney's candidacy, and especially when it comes to host versus writer and that aspect of it?
I think it's interesting, and I think this kind of proves my point with knowing what people wrote. So people know that he wrote Stefan. People know that he wrote the David Patterson sketches, which was one of the better Weekend Update pieces of the last 15, 20 years with Fred. he wrote Fart Face. We were discussing this a few weeks ago with the terrible sketch with Maya farting, and I said, if you do fart humor, it has to be smart. That was smart fart humor. Fart Face was amazing. So his tenure as a writer was much more well known. It is shocking that someone who became a 5-timer very quickly, who hosted the show twice in one calendar year, which is almost unheard of in modern SNL. It is kind of shocking that the fact that he is so contemporary that he didn't get in, but I'm hopeful, as Kirsten is, with the writing, that this is a good sign of the next 3 or 4 cycles.
Yeah, heading into this, I thought maybe Mulaney was a stronger candidate as a writer, and it seemed like the voters agreed. So he got about 5 more percentage points of the vote as a writer than he did as a host. He's only going to be on as a writer going forward on the ballot, so I'm really curious to see what transpires with him. Before we wrap up, there's one big thing, or a couple big things that I want to ask you guys about as far as the vote goes. Kate McKinnon, top 10 for me, top 10 cast member of all time. I thought she would be a slam dunk going into this, and I was shocked when I read the results and Kate didn't make the cut. And to a certain extent, Sandler, even though I have Adam Sandler lower on my list, I'm surprised that he didn't get the vote. I don't necessarily totally disagree with that. I disagree strongly with Kate not getting in, but with Sandler, I'm surprised just because I thought he was a big name and a fan favorite, and that would push him in. So, Bill, I'll start with you. Like, maybe lump those in, or do you have anything to say about Kate not and Adam Sandler not getting in?
As far as Kate, I think it's too soon. She just left the show, and there are people who vote who think that a first ballot Hall of Famer, much like in baseball or football, has to be so high. Like the threshold is much, much higher to get in on the first ballot. So I think that might have hurt her a little bit. Mm-hmm. As far as Sandler goes, he's one of my all-time favorites. I understand that his career is not as wide as some of the folks. John Schneider and I have had this argument. Like, he was only on the show for 5 years. He was on during a couple really terrible seasons. But he was so important to that early 90s. He kind of redefined what a Weekend Update correspondent was. And to see what he became after he was on SNL is also a big part of that to me. So I think he'll still get in. It's only his first time, right? It's his first ballot. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think we'll see an upward trajectory with him as well. And, I mean, even though he hasn't been on the show in 25 years, he makes enough movies, he's done enough animated stuff where people know who he is. I think he'll be fine. Both of them. It
seems like all of them will be fine. So I agree with that. Kirsten, should I be as outraged as I was when I first saw the Kate McKinnon results, or is it okay? Like, what do you think about she and Sandler here?
Kate's surprising, but I think you've both nailed it. It's a little too soon. I do think Adam will be in next year. Kate will be in next year or the year after, if not both of them next year. They're both very beloved. And I agree that we gave some, like the 3 that got in this year were people that have done their time, but time has passed. And although that doesn't rank for Adam Sandler, I think it's just he's not a Maya or a Molly, really. I think they'll both get in next year when that field is a little less crowded with some of the all-time greats.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm okay. Like, I was shocked when I saw that, especially Kate didn't get in, but I think I've resigned myself to, like, I'm okay. I feel good about it. So yeah.
It's close. You just gotta people vote. Get your votes in.
Yes, absolutely. Just get out there and vote. So I want to shout out the people who got over 50% of the vote, who will be on the ballot going forward. Of course, we mentioned Will Forte, 63.6%. Kate McKinnon, 62.7%. Adam Sandler and Buck Henry both had 60%. So hopefully Buck Henry sees that final push. That would be awesome. Fred Armisen, 59.1%. Jack Handy, 54.1%. So Jack, he's been hovering close to 50% for about 4 cycles now. And I mentioned Dave Grohl. I'll get off my soapbox about that, but Dave Grohl, 53.6% of the vote. We have kind of an in memoriam segment here on the results show. It's for the folks who are off the ballot completely because they just didn't get enough of the percentage of the vote. So if they got less than 5% of the vote, they're off the ballot completely. So we're sorry, Pearl Jam. 3.6% wasn't enough. You're off the ballot completely. Lady Gaga started off okay at 11%, dipped down to about 3%. I don't know what she did, but she's off the ballot. Anne Hathaway, 2.3%. So Anne Hathaway is off the ballot. So sorry to Pearl Jam, Lady Gaga, and Anne Hathaway. Any final thoughts from both of you? Bill, do you have any final thoughts? Just kind of perusing the voting this cycle.
Again, we need writer love. Some of these folks are dropping off, but Adam McKay, Dick Ebersol, who saved the show. It's cliche to say that with certain people, but what he was able to do while Lauren was not on the show, even if you didn't like his changes, and I didn't like all of them, I didn't like how much he leaned into pre-tapes, but we would not have an SNL if he had not come in after Gene Domanian and retooled the show. And Parnsy, man, Chris Parnell, let's get some love for all-time utility player and Lazy Sunday star Chris Parnell.
Agreed. Yeah, definitely. Kirsten, any final thoughts that you want to leave with the voters and listeners?
I think we need to create an honorable mention or something, because there are some fantastic folks that are unfortunately dropping off, this being their 5th time and them having not made it. And I don't want them to be forgotten. So how do we remember them?
Yeah, we could have like a wing in the hall just of like a contributions or honorable mention, something like that. I'll talk to Jamie. I'll talk to the architects too and see if we could squeeze that in.
Please, they need to be somewhere. If we need to remember all their great work, although they didn't make the Hall of Fame. Keep them in the house, please.
Yeah. Okay, that's a really nice thought. I agree with that. Kirsten, thanks for joining me. Do you have anything to promote here?
Well, if you're in the Toronto area, we do a seasonal intergenerational storytelling event called Generation Women, and you can find details at generationwomen.ca.
Wonderful. Thank you again. We'll see you in season 6. I'm sure of it. Yes. Bill Kenny, my man, thanks for coming by and helping to reveal the results. Tell everybody where we can catch you.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. You can find me all over the Saturday Night Network, and we revealed just last night on the Hot Take show of the finale that John and I will be co-hosting a summer series of the all-time greatest hosts of SNL.
Nice.
So we're going to do a top 50, and I'm sure both of you will join us at some point. It's going to be very exciting. We talked so much about the hosts on this podcast today. It'll be interesting to see where certain people fall on that list. 50 years to look at, probably over 600 or 700 hosts. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll be doing that every week starting in June. So. Oh,
man, I'm pumped about that, and I can't wait to get the call to see what episode that you want me to go on.
Yes.
Very excited. Well, thank you so much, Bill. Congratulations again to the newest inductees to the SNL Hall of Fame, Maya Rudolph, Molly Shannon, Al Franken, and Tom Davis. Also, the SNL band, just as a whole, got inducted with the Don Pardo Award. So I should definitely mention that as well. So congratulations to all the wonderful people who have been part of the SNL band. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for listening and voting. It's been an honor to lead these conversations the past 4 seasons, and I'm so excited to see what season 6 has in store for us. The selection committee is going to be hard at work. I believe we'll have another draft to determine the new nominees for season 6. I'm looking forward to that. For Bill Kenny, Kristen Rayela, Matt Ardill, and JD, I'm Thomas Senna. Do us all a favor, and on your way out, as you pass the Weekend Update exhibit, turn out the lights, because the SNL Hall of Fame is now closed.
Thanks for listening to the SNL Hall of Fame podcast. Make sure to rate, review, share, and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at SNLHOF. This is Doug Denant saying, see you next week.
Podcasts and such. Podcasts and such.
231. That's the average number of apps used by many companies. This leads to a lot of context switching that can distract employees and costs your company. Luckily, Grammarly can help. Grammarly's AI works in over 500,000 apps and websites, making it easy for your team to crank out clear, on-brand emails, documents, messages, and more. In just one click, they can go from blank page to first draft, all without leaving the page they're on. Grammarly has 15 years of experience building effective, secure AI that can be implemented in days with minimal IT overhead. It goes beyond basic grammar to help tailor writing to specific audiences, whether that means adding an executive summary, fine-tuning tone, or cutting out jargon. Join 70,000 teams who save an average of $5,000 per employee per year using Grammarly. Go to grammarly.com/enterprise to learn more. Grammarly. Enterprise-ready AI.
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So, while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta Holiday Market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.